Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, friends of Japanese prints, welcome for the show. I'm Dieter Manschura, and I'm the owner of the Ortolino Company, and we sell Japanese prints in weekly online auctions. And in this video, I will present you 4 selected artworks from our current auction. The current auction is so roughly 165 prints altogether. And these 4, they are modern Japanese prints, all created after 1945. The artists are Tadashi Nakayama, Mori Yoshitoshi, Ryusei Okamoto, and Sara Brea. Well, the first print that I want to present is huge. It's by Tadashi Nakayama. Oh, take a look. Tadashi Nakayama was born in 1927 and died in 2014. And the title of this print is Red Clothe. Well, the red is obvious. It was created in 1957. And, well, as we can see here, it's signed in pencil by the artist, and it's also dated. It was created in 1957, but it's not a limited edition. It's not numbered. It's a woodblock print. The technique used by Tadashi Nakayama, and he was a woodblock printmaker, is extremely elaborate and sophisticated. His best prints and also the most expensive prints are all very large. Okay, well, this is an example, but there are even some that are even larger. And he often used up to 35 different wooden blocks printed with up to 47 colors in 51 manual stages to create these prints, and all done by hand. And you must know, I mean, with the technique that he uses, he has to carve one wooden block for each color. And of course, for such a huge size, you need several blocks. For the red, maybe it was divided into 4 blocks. Well, I don't know in detail, but an extremely technically challenging artwork. Tadashi Nakayama studied intensively Byzantine art, Persian art, and also the Italian Renaissance. And you see the influence in his art prints of these studies, in my view, especially Italian Renaissance, yeah, although it may look so completely different, but there's certainly an influence from it in his artworks. Well, the preferred subjects by the artist were horses, okay, well, that's one, or young, beautiful women, usually with long hair, somehow in the style of the hippie generation of the 1960s and 1970s, often with blonde hair. Well, she has black hair, but also long hair. That's always so roughly the same style. And it reminds me personally, when I experienced the 1960s, 1970s, then I was a young man. It reminds me of these years of the pop generation, the students' revolution, and so on and so on. Especially large prints by Tadashi Nakayama are rare in the market and inexpensive. And now comes a surprise. This one has only a reserve of $400. It currently has one bid, so I expect it to go much higher. Please, if you don't believe me, go to the internet and research for Tadashi Nakayama, and you will be astonished about the prices that you will find there on the internet. Tadashi Nakayama is an outstanding artist, believe me. Our next print is by Mori Yoshitoshi. He was born in 1898 and died in 1992. Mori Yoshitoshi had worked as a textile designer, and he was already at an age above 50 when he turned to printmaking. But now let me show you that print. Also, this one is rather large. It's titled Sake Cup, and it shows a rather buxom lady, actually a preferred subject by the artist. I have no idea if he always used the same model or if he had a preference for ladies a little bit overweight. The print is hand-signed. You see that here, and here you see the red seal of Mori Yoshitoshi, and it's a limited edition. It's number 7 out of 50. Was created in 1982, and Mori Yoshitoshi works in a technique we described it as stencil print, but it's a stencil print the Japanese way, and the Japanese and experienced collectors of Japanese prints, they call this kapatsuri, yeah? And now interesting, Japanese stencil printing called kapatsuri, which Mori Yoshitoshi uses for his prints. That's the same technique that he applied before for textile dyeing, yeah? So that's basically the same. And this kapatsuri technique is the speciality of Mori Yoshitoshi, yeah, and also a little bit buxom, chunky ladies. This print has a reserve of $500 and no condition problems. Our last but one print is by Ryusei Okamoto, born 1949. Ryusei Okamoto was a student of the famous Shinanga artist Toshi Yoshida. And I have to admit, Ryusei Okamoto is one of my favorite contemporary Japanese printmakers. And the prints that we offer by him, they are consigned to us directly by Ryusei Okamoto. This print is from a series titled First Love, and it's the number 54 from this series. This series, I think Ryusei started the series 20 or at least 15 years ago, and it's an ongoing series, and the titles of this design is The Sad Song Dedicated to You. And now my Japanese wife, Yori, she makes the descriptions of our catalogs. And now I want to read precisely what she wrote, because it's beautiful. Okay, beginning of quotation. A portrait of a schoolgirl in sepia tone definitely. The design suggests that the portrait had been done on a school notebook and was torn into 4 pieces and then taped back together. An old date, here 1972, an old date, April 11, 1972, is printed in the right lower corner. End of quote of the description of my Japanese wife, Yori. Well, then she makes some speculation, maybe about an old love story. I posted this print recently on Facebook and on Instagram, and it received a large number of likes and comments. So quite obvious, the users on the internet, they like the prints by Ryusei Okamoto, which, by the way, are all handmade woodblock prints. The artist carves himself, he prints himself, and of course he makes the designs himself. The reserve, $110, by far too low. So I really hope, especially for the artist, that by the end of the auction, well, that final price will go up. The last artwork for this video is by Sarah Breyer. And I'm now speaking of an artwork because it's not a single print. It's a set of 3 lithographs, and the title of this set is Clothe. And it's rare, it's hand-signed, and it's placed in a thick, long-fibered, handmade paper folder. In an online catalog, on the internet, it's difficult to show, yeah, because you have only 2 dimensions. We always show the front side of a print and the back side, but well, this is practically like a 3-dimensional object, and now I'm going to show it to you. I don't want to open it completely, but you see how it works. And inside are these 3 lithographs. You see them on the screen in the background, and it even comes with this funny little bunch of strings. You also see them here in the image on our screen. The artwork is titled, numbered and dated in ink on the folder. And title of these individual prints, each one is titled, well, this is bath, well, this is called rinse, and this scrub. Yeah, the last one is easily recognizable by the title scrub. Sarah Breyer is a renowned artist working in all kind of special papers, and usually her artworks today are also very large. But she also works, I think, in nearly all printmaking techniques. She also learned woodblock printmaking by Toshi Yoshida at the Yoshida Academy when she was in Japan. And today her artworks are in all renowned museums. I just want to mention a few. The British Museum, the Sackler Gallery of the Smithsonian Institute, the US State Department in Washington, D.C., and the American Embassy in Tokyo, my friends. It's rare and valuable, and the reserve is $800. I showed you 4 modern Japanese prints, all made after 1945. 4 examples from our current auction of roughly, I think, about 165 Japanese prints from all periods, mostly currently modern prints. And you see, I mean, how lively the art scenes of Japanese prints after 1945 has been, and how lively it still is. There are wonderful contemporary Japanese printmakers, like for instance Ryuza Okamoto or Osamu Sugiyama, to name just 2. And today is February 27 of 2021, and the auction will end tomorrow, February 28 of 2021, my friends. And we are located in southern Germany in the state of Bavaria, and our auctions always end on Sunday at 8 p.m. our local time, which is Central European time, and we are 6 hours ahead of you guys on the US East Coast, and 9 hours ahead of you guys in Los Angeles and San Francisco. Hello, you guys. And I would be pleased to see you as our clients, as our customers in our ongoing auctions. And of course, I would be pleased to see you for our next video, my friends. And until then, have a good time and have a good week.